Poor Jonathan Majors, man. So imagine Disney fires you, and like right after Disney firing you, they basically, because that's Disney, they run ABC too and everything. So just for the same network under the same company to give you an interview, what Jonathan Majors, what you should have done, brother, you should have went on Shannon Sharp show. Yo, wow. People saying like, what could have topped the Cat Williams interview? I'd say immediately Jonathan Majors going on it. Not because he's close to Cat Williams. I'm not saying it would do the same numbers, but I'm talking about the clips. To have an hour interview, 2-hour interview with Jonathan Majors, that would have broke the internet. Like Shannon Sharp would have broke the internet in 2 weeks. 2 videos in 2 weeks where he breaks the internet. That would have been crazy. You know what I'm saying? He would have been two viral clips in 2 weeks. But let's take a listen.
Something about sitting here right now and looking at you and understanding the gravity of the situation. A situation that I, in many ways, put myself in.
Your reaction to that verdict?
Shock. I was absolutely shocked and afraid. And I'm standing there, and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence.
Now, mind you, black men, I need you to listen here, bro. You're going to see a lot of comments. This is why you have to stay away from white women. No, this is why you need to stay away from court. It's like, guys, well, a lot of black men already know, but if you guys need a reminder, stay away from court. Now, to stay away from court, you need to probably eliminate 90% of the women in your life. I know that seems extreme, but most women understand the gravity of putting a black man in court. I'm talking about black women, white women, Spanish women, Asian women. They understand. They know. They know the gravity of, oh, I'm gonna put this case on you, meaning child support, DV case. I'm gonna call the cops on you. If a woman threatens to call the cops on a black man, and it's literally over an argument, she's trying to kill you. If she's trying to put child support on you and you're a black man, she's trying to kill you. Right now, like I said, if she puts a case on you, domestic violence, if she's secretly recording you, she's trying to kill you. It don't matter. Now, I don't understand why I'm seeing all these comments. Stay away from white women. Stay away from, and I'm literally like, white women didn't destroy the black family. I'm like, white women didn't destroy the black family. White women are going to do white women things. People think that white women do not, like, they think that white women don't treat even their white men a certain way. Like, it's white dads in the suburbs going through it, dog. You guys just don't know about it. They just keep it under wraps. Like, I'm talking about white women will divorce their white husband. I'm talking about divorce, grape him, straight up take everything from him. But you won't hear about it because they're so masterful when it comes to using the system against men in general. They'll put like a gag order on their own husband. And a lot of black men do not know this. This is why I try to tell black dudes, try to when it comes to dating, don't just put yourself in one box, but just understand there's pros and cons when you're dealing with different races of women. When you're dealing with black women, you got to be wary of the simps that she'll send after to kill you, whether it be the system, her brothers, or basically they'll use either their baby father or their ex boyfriend to kill you, to basically do the dirt. Somebody else do the dirty work for him. When you're dealing with a white woman, she's good at playing the I'm innocent, I'm an angel, and so that's how they can get most men in general. But once the gloves are off, they are masterful in using the system against you. When it comes to Spanish girls, you just got to watch out, hide your sharp objects from them. You got to watch who their family is. Just make sure they're not affiliated with anybody, because they have a lot of male cousins, male brothers in their families that will ride out for him. For it. So just make sure you don't do her wrong. If you don't, like, say, I'll say like this: if you don't do her wrong, and she has some kind of a decent head on her shoulders, a Latina could probably be a good bet for you. But even still, then hide your knives. Asians, Asians are similar to white women. They know how to play the part, but they'll poison you. So Asian women are typically, they're the ones that are going to poison your food a little bit at a time. a little bit at a time. So like I said, when you're dealing, it's pros and cons, especially when you're dealing with a Western raised woman. And this is why what, Jonathan Majors ended up doing was just ended up hiring Megan Goods to be by her, Megan Good, I hope I said her name right, to be by her side, which he should have hired a girlfriend in the first place. This is what people don't understand. This is why people don't understand. Why do these people always get the Kardashians or Cardi B or these industry pass? It's because they have something to lose. Industry girls have something to lose in terms of they still want to move up in the ranks. So if they're just sitting there putting cases on ninjas on the regular, you know what I mean, and acting ratchet or acting a certain way, you know what I'm saying? Like you can end up like Jonathan Majors because he tried to take a normie chick with him to the top, and she used normie tricks to get him to the bottom. But she don't like I said, when women try to bring you down, they don't care the impact. She doesn't care that this is going to ruin his career. So she doesn't even care. She wants things her way. It don't matter who dies to get it. She don't even understand the impact. She doesn't care. American women do not care how they take you down. They don't care how hard you work to get to a certain spot. You know what I mean? That doesn't matter anymore. This is why this is why I always praise the Passport Bros, is because really the American women don't understand what their actions, how they're doing things. They set a very dangerous precedent in terms of now dudes are literally like, what's the point of trying to date? What's the point of even working hard if I'm going to make it to the top and I'm supposed to bring my woman with me and she's going to turn state's evidence against me when she doesn't get her way?
Let alone our evidence.
And other countries now are doubling down on patriarchy because of the clown-ish that women are doing here.
How is that possible?
But after only hours of deliberation, a jury of his peers agreed with prosecutors that he did physically injure his then-girlfriend Grace Jabari in an incident last March.
What happened?
So people always like to talk about the O.J. Simpson jurors and whatnot, how they were the dumbest ones. I mean, how about jurors like this? I mean, we talk about evidence and all this stuff. How could the juries look at all this stuff and still side with the women here? It's insane. But people like to talk about the O.J. jurors. They still can't get over that. But that's a whole other story for another day.
Exactly, do you know?
No, I don't know. But she's unconscious.
That 911
Something about sitting here right now and
came hours after an argument broke out with Jabari in the backseat of an SUV when Majors received a text from another woman saying, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you." Jabari testified that when she grabbed the phone, Majors tried to get it back, fracturing her finger and giving her a cut behind her ear.
So that's what happens. Well, people don't understand when you're tussling for something and just the backlash of that could cause a cut. That could cause something else. She could have gave herself a cut, but that's what happens when you're literally playing tug of war with the phone. You try to tussle. You try to get yourself out of the car. Somebody's going to leave with a mark. It's not even a matter of somebody getting hit. Somebody's going to leave with a mark. And right here, this comment, I want you to see this right here because this is what I thought about this whole case in the beginning. Right here, read this comment. It says, this is by a woman by the way. She says here, looks like she saw the text, grabbed the phone, they scuffling in the car, which happens to most couples. I want you guys to understand this happens to most couples in long-term relationships, both causing bruises to each other. He's not running away because he fears her, and she's not chasing him because she's threatening him. He's running away from his accusations of cheating, and she chasing him. So he don't get away because she needs an explanation. No one was in danger. Just another argument like many others they've had. I'm sure they have a lot of them. That wasn't this time publicized. Why was this even put on trial? Thank you. Now that's obviously a person that's looking at this case objectively and just looking at it, it's like, why is this even going to trial? And this was like when I found out that this was going to trial, I'm like, Majors is in trouble because I'm just saying I don't really trust a lot of black men's chances in court, especially if it's like black man, white woman claiming abuse. You better, because she's gonna have some kind of evidence against you. She's gonna bring out the tears. She's gonna bring out, you know what I'm saying? So that's never a favorable position, but unfortunately though, most people miss the point. Don't date white women. And basically, I don't know why black women are celebrating this, because what's going to end up happening, say you do well as a black woman, say you're a single black woman, right? And you do well in life. You have a son, You prove all the odds right. You move to a nice neighborhood. Now, the problem is when you move to a nice neighborhood, it's not going to be a lot of niggas. It's going to be a lot of white bitches. Your son will be with a white bitch. I'm sorry, if you move your kid to a certain, you can't be surprised if you have a kid and he's going out with a Caucasian and you're moving to a certain neighborhood, he's most likely going to be dating a Caucasian person. I'm talking about black boy or black girl, right? You cannot be shocked. Now, when your black son dates a Caucasian girl, you're like, what you doing? Now, he's in the same danger as Jonathan Majors. And when Jonathan Majors was in the same situation, he was a Kiki King and ha ha ha. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing about, oh, stay away from white women, but I'm gonna move to a neighborhood where there's like literally no black people and think that your son to think that your son is just gonna go out of his way to date a black woman. That's just unrealistic. That's very unrealistic, you know? And this is why this is not the time to be ha 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 and Kiki King. You really should be checking that white hoe and be like, yo, what are you doing with our brother? But like I said, our community is so fractured. So where it'll be like a black woman with a white man, things don't work out and black men are ha 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 and Kiki King. And they just like this thing with you know, it's so childish. Basically what we have in our community right now is if a black man decides to date out of his race or a black woman. Now, mostly black women and white man relationships usually work out, but not in it's actually that percentage is going downhill only because straggles are now entering that realm and they straggle the straggle at the spirit of straggleness has now entered even black women from the suburbs. So like that straggle spirit is now surrounded. So that's not even a slam dunk no more. So whenever things don't work out interracially, whether it be with a black man with a white woman, black woman with a white man, it's always this back and forth of the white man don't really want you. No, the white woman don't really want you. Like it's this stuff is so childish. Nobody gonna love you like more like a black woman. It's like this stuff is it's really childish. It's really childish. And I thought black men weren't doing that at first because how I grew up, you know, it was normal to see that. I'm talking about on both ends. And usually from how I grew up, black men were not tripping over black women dating white men. Now, I already knew that when a black man dated a white woman, I already knew he was gonna face trouble. That's how I grew up. But now I'm just looking at the emotional ninjas nowadays that complain about, well, it's not them complaining, but they act like that they're not hurt. They act like that they're not hurt by it. But it's and really it's the pro black the pro blacks. They're just like, how could you? But they just don't understand. That's just it's like more than race. It's just that's just how things are. And you can't be on some like, but it's just like both sides are on some childish. The white man don't want you. No, the white woman don't really want you. It's just this stuff is childish, man. Anyways, let's go back to here.
Because inside the car, you hit her in the face, twist her arm behind her back, fracture her middle finger.
Yeah, that did not happen.
How did those injuries come about?
That's what happens when you tussle.
I wish to God I knew. That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it.
But you're confident you didn't
I have
cause
no
them.
question.
Surveillance video shows Majors getting out of the car.
Now, in fairness to him, when they look at when the pictures of her running, she looked fine. But you know, like I said, white women. We had a term back in the day, in the early 2000s. Well, way older than that. But I remember hearing this even in the 2000s that a white woman's tears is worth more than gold in America. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and I've had to. You know what's interesting when we talk about the white male simps? I remember me and Undead Chronic. We had a little bit of a conversation about this. I was trying to tell him that black men were the biggest simps, and Undead was trying to tell me white men were the biggest simps. And he was going on he was basically going on just overall. Now, what's interesting now, I've been saying white male. I'm seeing what Undead Chronic is saying in terms of white males being the biggest simps, and now he's coming around my end because he's been getting attacked by black dudes on Twitter. Because I was just trying to tell Undead, like, I'm like, you don't get it, dog. These single mammy raised dudes, bro, they on some weirdo ish. They on some weird, like I'm talking about on some weirdo ish. I witnessed it firsthand. First of all, as a kid, and second of all, I'm talking about especially recently on Twitter when I tried to join that communities thing, and it was these two black dudes. Geez, oh my God, these guys are simps. Oh my God, almost made me want to throw up. Literally made me want to throw up, and that's not even what I wanted to do. And after that, I was like, nah, black males are the biggest simps. It's not even close. And I was trying to tell underground, like like black men are way too progressive. You know what I'm saying? They were the first people to call their women queens and saying that our woman is strong. Like we did that. That's our fault. That's what I was trying to tell him. But he was trying to say white males are the biggest simps. And now I'm starting to go around his end because white women pull stuff like this because they know that there is still I'm not going to say a large populace, but there's still a decent enough populace that they understand all they got to do is say the right things, put on the right tears, and a white male simp is going to come and save her from the big black boogeyman. You still have white men that still think like this. And you still have white people in general that still think like this. They see a white woman crying and they see a black man just around the vicinity and they want to throw this ninja through the wolves. You know, we still have that dynamic going on in this country.
Followed by Jabari, whom he then puts back inside the vehicle. What happens next is what the defense remains focused on. Majors runs off, and Jabari chases after him.
If you watch those videos, and
Majors came out.
And this is where, that's why I say there's no such thing as gender equality. Because, like I said, if this was Jonathan Majors chasing her, he would have been thrown. That would have been case closed. I'm talking about as soon as that video would have dropped. If he was chasing her, case closed. I'm talking about even the pro-black men would be like, well, it's a wrap for you, dog. You look like a goddamn. If that was Jonathan Majors, have a big Negro male in New York in Times Square. It looks like that looks like Times around. Well, it's in Manhattan. In downtown Manhattan, have a big Negro male chasing a poor blonde white woman, talking about help. You think that chase would have been stopped immediately? they'd have had the noose right there, like a cowboy. They'd have had this ninja hung up in Times Square, bro. If that was just the reverse, even if it like say it's just a white man chasing a white woman, he would have been tackled. Now a big black man chasing a skinny white woman, 5'3", 5'4" white woman, talking about help. Now we look in reverse. They literally the people talk about the jurors on the O.J. Simpson case. They act like that the average juror, like this is the problem I have with white people. They think that the average juror are smart, balanced, fair people, and just those black jurors from the O.J. case were the only dumb ones. They don't. I'm just trying to think in this case, how can you look at this video and still be like Jonathan's guilty after he's being chased? I thought that was it should be case closed for him, but I knew it was still going to be more complicated than that. I still thought they was going to add a little something to the charge, but for him to be just found guilty, they literally looked at that video and just like, we need more proof. This is why I don't like to hear white people talk about the OJ case, because they clearly are still biased towards their own. And they a lot of white people will not admit this, but they're clearly biased. Now with black people, they don't have no tact when it comes to covering their biasness.
After an argument broke out with Jabari in the backseat of an SUV when Majors received a text from another woman saying, now let's do the next one right here.
And you saw a black man chasing a young white girl down the street, screaming and crying. That man is going to be shot and killed.
Those are facts.
In the streets of New York City.
Those are facts.
Major's defense team shared these photos, which he says show the injuries he received that night, which were deemed inadmissible in court.
How
Bruh.
were you injured?
My injuries were, I had a scratch on my hand, from clawing for the phone, and I had a gash on my, at the time I had a beard. Under my beard, I had essentially a fingernail scratch on my cheek from pressure, and that bled overnight.
But prosecutors say Majors was the aggressor. District Attorney Alvin.
That's what I mean. So the man is always going to be the aggressor no matter what. Especially you're talking about black man, white woman. That's not going to look good for you, even though he was being chased. You know what I mean?
Bragg says the evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse. In court, prosecutors pointed to a previous argument during which he knocked a candle to the floor.
I completely lost my temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. And
like I said, if you are a black man in court, you better be batting 1,000. This is why I believe when Deshaun Watson won that case, I really thought black people, we should have had like a barbecue or something, some kind of celebration, because For all those women to say, "Oh, he did this," and for him to go to a court in Texas, mind you, that's why I don't really think that when people talk about racism, I don't think it's just, oh, it's down south. When I went down south, even places where they had the Confederate flag, I didn't feel hate. I didn't feel hate. I'd be feeling hate. It'll be places in New York City, I'd be feeling hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you go to Boston, like that's racist. That's racist as hell. People think that the South is all Mississippi. That's what people think it is. Nah, it's really is just certain spots. That's really what it is. Because I find it interesting. I'm like, for Deshaun Watson to win that case in Texas, that really should have been, because we should have marked that for a holiday, because that case for him to go, because he could have went to prison for a long time, and that shows for a black man to go to court for grape, for like how many women they were saying, and for it to be zero, nothing, not guilty for none of them. That means those 304s were bogus as hell in their testimonies. I'm just like, this is a black man in court who was leaving the Houston Texans, by the way. He was leaving him. And for them to be like, wow, there's nothing we can put on this dude. Like, these hoes is bogus.
Because you're probably well aware that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama?
It was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be. You know, these great men.
Even though he's a corny dude, what Jonathan, I don't know why, like, people talk about emotional intelligence. I think women have zero emotional intelligence, because anybody that heard what he was saying when he mentioned Coretta Scott King, Michelle Obama, he was basically telling his bitch tag, right? That's all he was saying. Now, he said it in a corny way by mentioning Michelle Obama or Coretta Scott King when he's dealing with a Caucasian woman. Obviously, that's the corny part about it, but anybody with common sense understood what he was trying to say. But people are just, the normies were just so caught up in, he said Coretta Scott King and she was white. Yeah, that was the best he could come up with. How many stand-up old white bitches that we know, bruh? Look, man. People get mad when I say this. You know, like, white women, they a lot of them, not most, but a lot of them over time, they just kind of, they kind of look like they just kind of go bad. Kaylee's turning Karens, like Coach Greg Adams would say. Kaylee's turning Karens, so they just kind of go bad after a while, like milk. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand. Like, this is why white men have been actively trying other races. People just think, they're just trying to conquer our women. No, it's just white women. They just go bad after a certain time. People don't understand this, like, because I grew up around white women most of my life. So I've seen like the behind the scenes. This is, after a while, white women, they just go bad. So when you think about stand up older women in our time, for me, when I think about stand up older women, I'm talking about women in their 50s or 40s, whatever. A lot of them are black women that I can think of that had my back when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, there was a lot of Karens that I had to deal with when I was a kid. You know, and it's just, this is why, you know, after a while, white men would just be like, I can't even fuck with my own wife. You know what? You can just mess with those ninjas. Have at it.
Martin, President Obama, in trying to give a reference point to that, one of the things I also say is, like, I need her. And
like, people think we were talking about stand up, like Nancy Reagan. People forget Nancy Reagan. She belonged to the streets at one point. People don't know this stuff. Like, he was trying to give an example of a stand up woman at the time. He was thinking, shit, Coretta. People want to say, what, Jacqueline Kennedy was a stand up woman? Please. People got to start doing their history, dog. People got to start doing their history. That's why I try to tell, especially conservative white men, you guys simp for certain white women. They, I guess, I don't know, maybe I see white women for who they are. A really good fun time, especially from ages 18 through 23. And that's just me being a little bit extreme on that end. There's plenty of great, decent, hardworking white women that's over a certain age. I know this, obviously, but guys, Kaylee's turn to Karens. Like Coach Greg Adams would say, Kaylee's turn to Karens, and most men are very ill prepared for that transformation once that occurs. Because I've seen that transformation firsthand. You got to see it.
His grace to make the same sacrifices that I am making
You're probably well aware that people were saying, well, why was
But yeah, she's just going off on the, the normie talking points, But I'm not going to go through all the comments because most of the comments was like, you got to stay away from white women. But, when you're like a guy like that, when he was growing up, of course he had a white girlfriend, dog. The fuck? Of course he had a white girlfriend. And hopefully white women don't get mad at me at the stream, but that's why the problem is when I go out with white women, right? Or if I when I'm myself around white women are either intrigued or they're just completely disgusted on how I act. I it is what it is on that end.